Hi, William Hohen here for a new Villagers and Heroes video, and in this one I'm not the one who's gonna work. It's a re-upload of a part of the latest dev live stream where Ivar talked about housing interiors. This is incredibly interesting. If you just want to see that part, it's fine, but the whole live stream is more than an hour long, and they talk about the upcoming event zone, the overhauled Arcane Rift, which will be amazing group content from what I've seen. So yeah, I'm leaving you with Damon and Sarah, with Ivar speaking, and yeah, enjoy and go watch the full live stream. It's worth it. Alright, bye bye.
See a little thing called interior housing and our progress, because it's a lot different than, was it like November when we showed you like a picture or something? I think we can do better than that now. So you just heard from V, now you're going to hear from Ivar.
This is a canned video.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start it now, I think. If I know how to do it.
Uh-oh.
Hi everyone,
Okay,
it is finally time to get a closer look at house interiors.
Alright, we're starting over again.
Before we begin,
we're not
I
going to
would
be
like
able to hear the video,
everything
but
seen here today
y'all
is
can, and you
pre-release
can
and
hear
it's
us.
subject to
So.
change.
We're not going to talk.
There's a lot of things we will add
We can now.
polish and so on, but nonetheless,
Yeah,
we
now
have
we
now
can
reached
talk.
the point where we can give a pretty complete and comprehensive look at,
We can talk,
the
Sarah.
feature and something
There's no more
fairly
feedback.
similar to
All
what you
there
will
is
see once it
commotion,
goes
it's still
live.
not working.
So with that said, let's just jump in and see what it looks like currently in the game. So, as you can see, when you first enter your house, you will be presented with this blank slate, essentially. You will have a large, empty room, which you can decorate and change in any way you desire. In the future, past the first release, we might also end up offering things like different shapes of interiors and multi-room and multi-story layouts and so on, but that's for the future. That will not be part of the initial release. But what you do have is a singular large room which you can customize and decorate in any way you like. We have a front door, but apart from that, it's pretty much completely empty. So as you can see, if you look on the floor, there is a subtle grid overlaid, and this will not actually be visible unless you go into the actual house designer. But for now, internally, we're just showing it so that you can easily see how it's actually structured. Once you're in your house, you can click this button on your HUD, or if you're playing on mobile, there is a button on the HUD in a similar location. You can click this button to enter the house designer. So if you do that, you will notice that all of the HUD is basically gone, and in its place is the house designer UI. Now there's a lot of things you can do from here. You can rename your home. So you can name your house anything you'd like, and if other players then enter and visit your home, they will see the name of the house as if they were to enter a zone. So that's a nice little way of some extra customization. You can also set the house theme, and what we mean by that is the floors and the walls. So this is the default appearance, but if you want something like castle brick walls or something similar, you'll be able to customize the floors and the walls and ceilings independently, so that you can even further customize the sort of general feel and atmosphere. Another thing to notice also is that right now in this internal preview, it's already lit, but the way it'll work once we push this live is that it'll essentially be pretty dim and dark, and the way you will light it is to actually add windows and light sources. So the lighting will sort of be a result of the way you have customized your house. Right now we just have sort of an arbitrary light in the middle of it to see what you're doing. Anyway, so the way this works is you have all of the different house interior items visible at the bottom. And you can click any one of these, and as you can see, you can freely place it on this grid. There are buttons in the corner here that lets you filter based on category. As you can see, this doesn't actually work yet. It's still a work in progress. But you will be able to do things like, I only want to show furniture, or I only want to show lighting, decorative items, and so on and so forth. Storage items and so on. You can also click this little button here, which lets you set the custom filter or search items by name. So there are pretty comprehensive ways to filter and sort all of these different items, and it doesn't matter that much in the initial release because there won't be that many items, but in the future this will be hugely helpful. So moving forward, you can essentially click any one of these items, and you can walk around and you can move the camera around while you have this active. And there, as you can see, there's a little tip at the top here, it also shows you how you can manipulate this tool. So you can rotate any item in 90-degree increments, and you can basically just place it down. Now, in the final version, we'll also have some neat little like placement animations and so on, but again, pre-release. Nonetheless, I'm going to take this bed and I'm just going to push it here, and I've now placed this bed in my house. Maybe I want like this little footlocker next to the bed, because that's where I want to keep my valuables, say. That's another thing. We're actually not... It's slightly undecided so far. It may or may not be present in the first live release of this feature. Things like storage items, right? So you can place down a locker, and in the locker you can store items. That's something we will definitely want to have. Whether that will make it into the first release or not is still up for consideration. Nonetheless, that is still part of sort of the overall scope of the feature. Same applies to things like this. So here I can go and I can place a fireplace. Eventually you'll be able to use this fireplace to do, say, cooking. They will not be part of the initial release, but that's one of the things we have planned for like interactivity and engagement in terms of things you can actually do with your house layouts. Once you place something down, while you're in the designer, you can click it, and then you can start moving it around again. So it's very easy to just manipulate your designs. So say maybe I want to have a table more like in the middle. By the way, don't mind the blue arrow. That's also just part of internal testing. So I can take this and I can put it maybe here, and then I can take, say, a couch, and I want to put the couch right here, some chairs, and so on. So there are a huge variety of different kinds of items. Right now you can see a select few here. There's not just furniture, but that's the bulk of it. There are also things like windows. So windows obviously you place on walls like this. And again, right now they don't actually emit any light, but the way it will work in the final release is they will be your sort of main light source, so that they will impact how your interior is actually lit. And again, you can place a lot of different like arrangements of windows, sort of as much as you want, but you do have to place them on the walls, obviously. We also have some previews here of some future house sets. We will launch with essentially one theme of house items, which is this sort of village set, which looks kind of what you would expect in an ardent village. We have things constructed out of wood and sort of fairly simple materials. They kind of match the walls and the floors right now. So that will be sort of the initial set of items you can choose from. But in the future, we'll add a lot of different thematic sets, so you can really get a lot of variety in how you customize your items. So as a few examples of this, eventually we'll have some sort of bone or necromancer set, and then you have items that will look somewhat akin to this. It's just as one example. We'll also have a Traven themed set with like nautical style props, and you can see an example of that right here. So that's something to look forward to past the initial release. Just like this is sort of similar to when we added mounts. So it's like a framework, and then over time we can just keep adding new things to it, and it becomes greater than the sum of their parts. Because we're just going to keep adding things, and there's going to be a lot of variety of ways you can customize your house. But as you can see, it's very easy to add things like this, and you can move them around, and you can sort of customize them any way you want. Now, one thing we haven't really talked about yet is, you can see in the top right, it says gold cost. So what this is, it's not really a cost, it's more of a deposit. The way it works is essentially, whenever you place anything, say a single chair, that has a gold cost associated with it, and you can see that when I place it, the cost actually goes up. Now, if I press finish, I'm going to be charged this amount of gold based on everything I placed. Now, if I delete this, that is refunded 100%. So it's never permanent. You're basically just paying an upkeep. I don't want to call it an upkeep because it doesn't charge you like on a monthly basis or anything, but you're depositing this amount of gold based on the different items you've placed. But you get it all back if you get rid of them. So obviously a lot of fancier later items will incur a higher gold deposit, but as soon as you want to get rid of it, the importance here is basically we really want you to be able to experiment with house designs and layouts. And so giving 100% of the gold cost back when you delete an item is a way to make it not as committed, which is a good thing because it encourages creativity. But none of this actually happens until you press finish, upon which it actually will tell you this is how much it will cost to do these changes. And it might actually be that you're given gold. If you're like going into the designer and then you just delete something that you previously placed and you exit it, you'll actually be getting gold out of it, right? That you originally paid. You can also undo everything you've done since you opened the designer. Again, it makes it easy to just kind of experiment. But if you say, I don't really like these changes I made, you can undo them all and then just exit. And that's mostly it in terms of what you can see on the screen right now. There will also be premium house items, which you can buy from the item shop, that are not part of this set. Just like there are premium mounts or premium cosmetics of any kind. Those will appear down here even if you haven't bought them. Which is also like, it's a way to trial an item. If you don't know if you're going to like it or not, say we make a really fancy royal chair or something like that, right? You might see it in the shop, but you're not sure if it's really your thing. So you'll actually be able to see it down here like any other item, and you can actually place it and look at it, and it's not until you press finish that you would have to pay the crowns for it. So that's a nice little way to actually preview any premium house interior item, so you know if you're going to like it before you actually decide to spend crowns on it. Later on, there will also be features like you can see this display case, and again, this will not be part of the first release, and things might always change, and you know who knows what will happen in the future. But what we want to get in are basically trophy items, things like if you've killed an elder boss, you might be able to show an artifact, like an item related to them. If it's a beast, maybe it's like their head on a wall, right? Or maybe they have like a unique item that belongs to them that you can put in like a display cabinet and things like that. So that'll be another category of items, like things related to your achievements in the world and like deeds you have done. So it's not just static furniture and whatnot. And those items obviously are tied to in-game achievements and progression. They're not just something you can buy, whereas other things like these are obviously things that you're going to buy. We also want to make it possible to craft house items. So ultimately, there are essentially 4 ways you can get house interior items. You can purchase them from NPCs for gold. You can craft them. You can find them in the world in certain rare cases for very specific items, or you can purchase them from the item shop. And exactly how all of that will be structured on the initial release, I'm not going to say, because we're still working that out. So you won't necessarily see all of those 4 methods of getting items right off the bat. So again, just really want to stress that these things might change. Just kind of highlighting the general premise. So yeah, that's all I have to show today. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully this gives you a better sense of all of the different things that you will be able to do.
We're done. Okay, can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now? Are we allowed to talk again? Can they hear us?
I think so. They can probably hear us.
How do we know?
Well, in a minute they're going to say, yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Does that mean you can't hear us? No. Yes, no.
If they say no, that means they heard us because they heard the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so a few things about the feature.
We see you guys have lots of questions on houses. Good thing this is Q&A time. Well, it's not quite yet. But I can talk if I behave. Okay, noted. Never gonna behave.
How do we get there? I'm trying to remember. What's the teleport command?
To where, man?
To the house interior?
Oh,
I'm not on SP. I can't.
Do that.
Okay.
Okay, so there was definitely, I saw some questions about pricing and gold and crown chop. So what he was explaining in the video is you're basically gonna, you can sort of...
Let me do that part.
What do you mean let you do that part? Why would you do that part?
So, well, there's the idea of unlocking an item, and then there's an idea of placing an item, and they're different. So unlocking is more like, now you have that chair, and now you can put multiple copies in it in your house. And that's what the premium version would be. If you bought one of the premium things for crowns, then you would have it unlocked, and now you could place it around.
And so once you, and somebody asked, if you buy it for crowns, do you get your crowns refunded if you delete it? No, because you've purchased it, just as you would any item for an item shop. But most of these items you can just purchase. You'll be able to just purchase for gold. So the idea is
gold or achievements or
you can craft them yourselves.
I mean, it's not like we're going to make everything premium. There will be some. Yeah. I'm not going to say the exact percentage, but it's not going to be. It's going to be way less than half are going to be premium.
When we very first go live, and again, things will be the very, very early stages of housing. Everyone can buy them for all these items for very low gold cost. So It's not, I saw somebody say it'll be hundreds of thousands. No, it's not going to be like that at all. But then the more you start buying different items and improving and getting more, it will go up incrementally. But again, it will all be fair pricing. It won't be pinbone pricing. So hopefully that answers some of those questions.
Yeah. And so other stuff that I have in my mind, which I don't know what Sean and Ivar are going to say to this because I just throw features out there. Let me take a side note. About who has access to your house, you'll control it. You'll just say, I want friends only or village members only or guild only. Or no one.
So actually, if you think of how raids work, we were thinking it would be something like that. The way you can just have your private raid party, so you can just click that way. Yeah, as opposed to like, if you're on somebody's friend list, you automatically have access.
No, it'll be a
like
filter.
400 friends,
you'll say based on your filters, just say it can have all friends or just
a party. You basically create your own little house party.
And you could say no one if you want it. Except for... Yeah. You can't exclude yourself from your own house. That's the only...
Oh, that's a good question. If you lose your house, will the items inside your house be there when you get your house back in? Yes. We haven't implemented all of that yet, but yeah, kind of like the shared trunks in memberships. So if like you lose your membership, all of your items you don't have access to, but once you get your membership back, all of your items are still there.
Well, just like your ranch and stuff. It's still there.
Yeah, same with all that.
So the other thing is, there's an idea that I really want. I don't know. This is just me wasting time of Sean, but it would be that if you're in your house, you can lock the door, and no one can come in unless they knock on the door. So you actually hear the door knock if you're in your house, and then you can let them come in. I don't know why I like that a lot.
Yeah, Damon was really into
But then it'll pop up and it'll say, V wants to come into the house, and you're like, no! And then people can come in or whatever. The other stuff I want in the house, and this is another one that Ivar and Sean are going to be like, what? No! That you can see out the window, and you can see the landscape around you. Yeah. I just think that would be really cool, to be able to look out and then have the sunlight coming in. Another one that I really want that Sean and Ivar are going to be like, no! No, they're not going to say that. They actually want to probably do more than me, but would be to put rugs on the floor underneath.
Oh, yeah.
He said no. Ivar said no to that. But to put rugs on the floor underneath stuff. So the rug doesn't replace the item, it goes underneath it. Stuff like that is cool. And then, of course, Sean's already figured out a really cool way where you can put stuff on the walls. You can hang stuff on the walls, like pictures and stuff.
And pictures and mirrors. And
then somebody asked about wallpaper. Yeah, so that's the themes that Ivar was talking about, where you'll be able to pick different themes for the floor and the walls. And maybe a little bit of house interior decorating as well.
Oh, yeah. And again, this will just... We're going to keep expanding with each... Once built housing goes live, from then on, we'll just keep getting more and more and more, and it'll get better and better and better and all that.
I kind of hang players on the walls.
Ooh.
Yeah. After we add PvP and you kill them, you can hang them as trophies.
Aw, that's our loving spirit.
Ivar says yes, he likes the idea of being able to look out the windows. We all think it's cool because then you really feel like you're...
So I just want to take a moment to give a huge shout out to Sean, who is the programmer who literally made all of the movement and all of the things that you saw actually happen. It is just so complicated. It is so hard to do, and Sean has just been, oh my goodness, absolutely amazing. So 3 cheers for our beloved Sean. He's somewhere hiding, probably not even watching.
No, he's probably watching, but he got a lot done really fast. Both really complicated server.
Incredible.
He's doing both server side stuff, which is really tricky because if you don't know what you're doing, everything blows up, and also GUI stuff, which takes a while, and just all the code.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot.
It's
so much more still to come that he has to figure out and do and. Anyway.
And also, of course, Ivar for designing.
Absolutely. Well, and the interns, our amazing art interns who have been putting together all of those art assets.
That's right. And as well as some of the new stuff we're about to show you.
Like what new stuff, Damon?
Should we transition now?
I think we should.
Okay, we'll move to the next step here. Whoops, that was dumb.
What is that event zone that happens in June? What could it be?
So I wanted to show you the new outfit we have. This is the new outfit we're introducing. This is the new. It's the new Veil outfit.
Don't you love it? Oh my god! They
it's
spent
called
months on this outfit.
Advanced Torrential.
It's called Special Fire Wizard outfit.
And then we also have this new.